Yeah, it's getting pretty bleak, but I think it's passed the first test to a certain degree. None of the plants are really heavily wilted. Cutting from Capensis is okay, though I'm a bit worried about the hang on, actually putting this on spot cullen, but the liverwort there, I don't know. Funny reaction, I think, with the liverwort, not sure, but the cutting there seems to be okay. And that one seems to be okay. Everything else seems to be okay. So that's got 3 eggs in that quantity. So we'll see how we go. And of course, one of the last strawberries I had in the container, which is getting really on its last legs. Oh yeah, here it comes. You can hear it, the wind and the rain. Anyway, back to general. I did a little bit more work with these things. I thought, well, why don't I work back the other way? You know, 50-50 I know works. So 50-50 fine polystyrene. And then I did 500 mils of fine polystyrene, 500 mils of sand, and to that I added 700 mils, you know, this size container of the poly, and that seemed to be almost on the money. Maybe you want to cut it down to 500. Fine, so I had one of those of fine poly, one of those of the sand, the fine sand, and I had one of these of the beanbag prilling. And then this one, I did the same thing again. 500 of the fine poly, 500 of the sand, and then I added 500 of the fine perlite and 500 of the intermediate grade perlite. And then when I mixed it, it seems all right, but I've noticed the sand grains seem to be sticking to the perlite. The actual sand is now adhered in a way to these. I don't know if you can see this, but it seems to be. I'm probably going to have to put this on spot cullen, and I think we're too dark too. Okay, spot cullen. I don't know if you can see this, but the actual sand grains are actually stuck to the outside of the perlite. So that's taking away the effect of the sand. So don't know. Now, if you notice, all the perlite now it's changed its colour because the sand is stuck to it, sort of thing. So I don't know. Looks like a negative, might not be. But oh yeah, it's starting to get really dark. As I said, I'm going to be stuck or trapped in the house for about a week, I reckon, maybe 2 weeks. You never know. So what I'm going to do now is mix these two together in this bowl over here, and see how we go, sort of thing. So you can see it's a reasonably good mix for that one, and that seems to be working. It probably will work better if you actually sat these things in there for a few days, so that, you know, all the electrostatics on the polystyrene could subside to a certain degree, sort of thing. Anyway, back to general, I think. And we'll try this one. And also this one seems to be much greater in volume now, probably because all the sand is stuck to the... Anyway, so we'll see how we go. And it seems very gritty and open now, which is not what I would have thought I wanted for something I want to keep semi-anaerobic to, you know, micro-aerophilic sort of thing in a container. So we'll see. So that certainly is different, fellas. But if it pinks, well, you know. But I've noticed, we put it back on spot cullen. If we can go, it's got cullen. If we've got still seconds left on the card. As I said, we want it to pink. We want to pink throughout. We want it to go right down to the bottom and maintain its pinkness, which some of the other things do. But if you notice this one with a few grains of the fine perlite on the top there, I don't know if you can see that, but they're definitely pink throughout, and, you know, red, and staying their colour, and they've stayed their colour like that for, well, months, I suppose, now. So, yeah, it's getting pretty dark. I should have really had this on only one notch down, I would have thought. But, okay. So it's, I don't know, fellas, it's still this case of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back sort of thing, you know. Everything else seems to be working, but the liverworts, you know, seem to be like slightly letting us down, I think, at the moment. But anyway, we go on to back to general. So I'll deal with this. I'll add the egg, and we'll see how we go with this thing. But that's very interesting. You can see the way the sand is. The sand is really not really in the mixture now. It's all stuck. I don't know whether that's a plus or a negative, but at the moment it looks like a negative. But very strange. So obviously that may have explained that. Well, that's strange. Why it got wetter, because all the sand stuck to the stick to the perlite, and therefore took the sand out of the thing, and all the water that was normally in the sand just fell out, and that's why it got wetter. Is that how it works? And by the way, to each one of these I added 500 mils of water to the sand poly, and then 500 mils to the one that didn't have the large poly in it. So I added an extra 500 mils to the one that had the perlite, the 2 grades of perlite, but I didn't add an extra 500 mils to the one that had the polystyrene, because it's somewhat impervious to the water, though it does take in a little bit of water over time, I've noticed. Okay, well that's about it, I think, with this clip. I can't think of, it's getting a bit dark. I should have, it's coming in here. Oh, and the autumn crocus is out, so that's a sign usually when the season is sort of going, sort of thing. So we'll see how we go.